Welcome to the Free the Wage Slave podcast, the podcast dedicated to helping frustrated 9-to-5ers get out of the rat race and succeed working for themselves. I'm Sky Kilji, a former corporate insurance wage slave who now travels the world year-round working from my laptop. So I'm really happy to be talking to Sat and Dan from Sandy Feet Messy Hair on Valentine's Day. So first of all, happy Valentine's Day, guys.
Such a romantic time. Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
It's my pleasure. So I love these guys. These guys are my favorite digital nomad couple on Instagram.
You are too kind.
And, I really love these guys because they're just real. They document their life as it is. And I think a lot of people need to see that. It's not all cocktails by the pool. I keep using that phrase. They show you the real side of what life looks like. And I just love them. And I'm delighted to have them with me on the show today.
Thank you so much.
Thank
what
you.
an intro. We feel honoured
Yes.
and almost celebrity. Thank you so much. Yeah, we're
Very,
definitely
very
humbled
welcome.
to be here. Thank you. Yeah.
My pleasure. So let's just jump straight into it. So what everybody wants to know right out the gate is who are you and where are you from?
So my name is Saterra, and I am from a small town in northern Alberta, Canada.
And my name's Dan. So I thought you were going to say a bit more. I think you're going to do a full introduction. My name's Dan. I'm 28 and I'm from Middlesbrough in the northeast of England.
Yeah.
All right, brilliant. And how did you guys meet? How did you get together? I want to know a little bit about life, both individually before you kind of embarked on this journey, and then how you guys found each other.
Okay, cool. Well, I'll go first because I'm always one who seems to talk a lot. I always take the camera on Instagram and I'm always one who's too chatting. And so I was born in England, grew up in Scotland. I'm the youngest of two older brothers and an older sister. And we're an army family, to be honest. So I came from an army background. My two older brothers did Iraq and Afghanistan, both serving. And my dad was in Northern Ireland and his granddad was in the war, and it kind of became a sort of natural progression for me to join into. And through school, I sort of watched my brothers and watched them get older, and they sort of went away in the army and came back with kit bags and bags full of stories. So that was kind of what I aspired to be. So as soon as I went through school, did all that sort of good stuff, and then decided instead of university that I was going to give it a crack and see if I liked it. So off I went to Germany, and 7 years later in the artillery, I'm finally out. And it was actually in Canada where I was working with the army in 2018.
I think.
It's 2020 now. I'm getting mixed up with my years.
I think it was
2018, yeah. So it was like summertime 2018. I was deployed to Canada for my last year in the army. Actually, I'd already handed my notice in, said I wanted to leave and change direction. And I was in Canada for 6 months, and one of my weekends off, I was on a boys' weekend up in Banff, which is one of the ski towns there. And whilst waiting for a taxi because the snow was too thick, we sort of caught romantic eyes through the glasses of McDonald's.
Nice.
And then it just sort of went off from there. Sat just inspired me. Sat was just this ball of energy and ball of knowledge that I'd never seen before, and she just intrigued me, and I couldn't stop thinking about her. And we sort of did long distance for a little bit. I went back to Germany, sort of tied up all my loose ends, and the question was, where do you want to go next? Sort of thing. So then,
so I'll kind of tell my side of the story, I guess.
And then we'll like meet in the middle, sort of thing.
I grew up in a very small town in a very cold part of Canada. After graduation, I went to hair school in the city closest to me and decided I was going to work in that field for a little while, and didn't like it so much because I didn't want to necessarily put in all that time and all the effort, because I knew that I just wanted to travel and I wanted to get that started right away. So I went back into my little notebook of things that I have, the qualifications and stuff, and found that lifeguarding was going to be my ticket to save money fast. And I looked into that and found a good gig in the city, earned some money, saved a lot, and I was actually on a a birthday party like trip to Banff that weekend when we met, from the girl my best friend that I met working at the pool. So that weekend we were all out drinking, and I met Dan at 3 a.m. outside the McDonald's.
Modern day romance.
It doesn't get much classier.
Yeah.
Right.
Rest is fate, I guess.
Yeah. But yeah, then we basically just bounced off each other, and we both really shared high ambitions and definitely sort of stepping out of your lane kind of thing from both our backgrounds. Yeah. We were both sort of working class backgrounds, and we wanted more all the time. We were like, this can't be it. We can't be settling for this kind of thing. We don't want what our friends want. And then we knew we'd never sort of conform into a sort of local template, didn't we? We knew we weren't destined to sort of stay in one place. And our chemistry for that just kind of mixed massively. And that then led to a sporadic, well, almost sporadic one-way ticket to Bangkok on what was the date? May
18th, I think we said.
May 18th, 2019.
Yeah, so we had done 8 months of long distance before then, when Dan packed up and went back to Germany only a week after we met. And a month later, we visited when I was backpacking with my best friend in Amsterdam. And then 8 months after that, he arrived in Canada on a plane, and we had a few months together to just hang out and really get to know each other face to face, I guess.
We would really funny story. I landed in Canada. It's -40.
Something crazy.
-30, -40 Celsius outside. And I look like someone from Cool Runnings with all my gear on, trying to leave Calgary Airport. And that's sort of leading me on. And we get to the hotel because it was too dangerous. We couldn't go back to Lac-La-Biche. It's a 4-hour drive north, I think.
Yeah.
Is it? And so we stayed the night in the bad weather. And so this is the first night we're together. And we're in the elevator. We're in the lift on the way up to the room. And we get stuck in the elevator. So there's me, sat, an American and a Chilean guy stuck for 2.5 hours in an elevator while it got fixed and a maintenance guy got called out through the snow. And that was our sort of, now we're together. Let's get to know each other a bit more. So that was really funny. And then it worked out in the end. We got some free drinks, and it was all pretty. Great. The hotel sort of sorted us out for that little inconvenience. But we quickly got to know each other, and we've been inseparable since, to be honest. Whether it was going through Bangkok, Sat's first time on the back of a scooter was through Bangkok, rush hour, trusting me to sort of navigate my way through the traffic. And then we kind of just took each adventure as it came after that, really.
We need somebody to make a movie of your story. It's just like perfect Valentine's Day story.
This movie would have more sequels than the Fast and Furious.
I love that. So I want to just zoom into one detail. You were doing the long distance thing, and you both kind of realized that, this templated life, as you put it, Dan, it wasn't for you. A lot of the nomad couples I talk to, they tell me about how they met and they did some exercises like dreamlining or, planning their goals for the future. Yeah. So when you were in that stage before you finally made the leap, what kind of conversations were you having? What type of processes were you going through?
We were going through, that's a really interesting point of our relationship, actually.
Yeah, it was, I think we both came to that exact same decision and path right at the right time for both of our lives. Like, Dan had just finished his career and he was finishing and kind of closing that chapter of his life and wanted more adventure. And I was kind of just starting out, like I'd done my schooling and knew that I didn't want to get into any career until I've seen the world and traveled the world. So we both kind of just, when we met, it was both at the exact right moment in our lives to set off and go. And both of us were just so ready that as soon as we kind of made that hint, like, hey, do you want to travel the world instead of working? Both of us were like, yes, that's exactly what we want to do.
And you were going through you had a lot of self-help and sort of self-motivation, almost that kind of guidance. And just listening and being in that environment alone, I was completely alien to it. I had no idea about that sort of encouraging environment that you can be around. And you showed me a load of books, especially by John C. Maxwell. Yeah, he was such an inspiration to me at the time because I'd never even come across anything like this. This seemed to be like, this was my ticket. This was the sort of, I'm a bit lost, not really sure what I'm doing, but I know that I shouldn't be settling here, and all them, and sort of John C. Maxwell's stuff really hit home and really made me realise that you're so full of potential that you shouldn't have to settle in anything. And like The Go-Giver, that kind of book series really hit home. And I went from reading 0 books to reading
you read like
one
30
a week.
between
I was just firing through them.
Yeah,
I was addicted, and I loved it. I loved that. I love that self-freedom. I love that ability to be able to go like, right, what am I doing? I don't have to conform to what my school says. I don't have to conform to what my friends are doing. I can go away and I can literally write. I can actually write my entire sort of new path and not have to follow anyone else. And when we sort of dove deeper into that and dove into the sort of content creator social media side of it, we realized that we weren't the only ones. And this is exactly where we need to be.
Yes. We just need to do anything to just figure it out. Like we had a calling and both of us knew it and we knew this is where we're supposed to be, but now it's just time to figure it out. We don't know where we're going, but we know that it'll be so worth it when we get there. Yeah.
Definitely. I think the internet has just played such an important part for all of us in just knowing that this lifestyle is possible. And, you know, there's definitely books. John C. Maxwell is great. Tim Ferriss, The 4-Hour Work Week.
Yes.
I remember when I first got that book, it was just like a light was shone on a pathway that I just didn't even know was possible. And it just made such a difference. So the belief is definitely the first part. The process seems to be there's this, you know, life is normal as it is. Then there's this inner turmoil of I kind of want more. The path then becomes clear. The next step that I typically see after that is how do we travel the world and make an income at the same time?
Yes.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
Talk to me about your transition. How did you prepare for it and how did you plan to be able to go on that journey?
So we are huge wingers. We are to be the black and white of it, but no, we decided this not long after we got together, obviously, and I just sort of buckled down in saving because I was my sort of monthly wage was pretty. My monthly wage came in all the time. I didn't have to worry about it. So then I knew that I'd be okay on the savings sort of side of things. Yep. But you had to really dig your heels in, didn't you?
Yeah. So for me, I came from like you work for what you want, kind of family, not like Dan didn't or anything, but I was playing sports my whole entire life and never really had a job or anything. It was just sports and family and that kind of thing. So finally, like being out in the real world, it was hard to like get back on my feet at some point in my life. You're freshly 18, you leave the house, you're kind of starting to figure it out and who you want to be and where you want to go. So yeah, I ended up working 2 jobs, really, really long hours, just knowing that if I can do this, all I need to know is that I need money and that's it. And then I could kind of just figure out from there. So when Dan and I were living together in Canmore before we left traveling, I was working from 4 a.m. till midnight some nights, 7 days a week, just save, work.
Days.
Yeah, just trying to figure it out. And since we left on our travels, it's just been, okay, what do we need to do now? We need to learn how to do this. It's all about learning. So we dug our heels in. We started
we really took a page out of when we were talking earlier about the John C. Maxwell stuff and the 4-hour work week. You end up with a schedule and you end up really journaling and really scheduling your days and scheduling your time. And it's such a gift to be able to do that. And then we took the financial side of that and put that really at the forefront of what we were aiming towards. And so we were writing down our finances, our outgoings and incomings. And so then like when we did get to Canmore, it was a case of me becoming a sort of housewife slash motivational speaker every morning that we need to get up 4:30, let's go. I know there's a foot of snow in your car outside, but I'll go get that off. You just sort of jump in the shower and you can like, and it was like, we'll get there. Think of the plane, think of the journey, think of the
end goal.
Think we're good. Like, it'll be okay. This is, if it was hard, if it was easy, everyone would do it, sort of thing. Like, let's work these 2 jobs. Let's get through it. And we just drove each other.
Yeah.
That's honestly was the cheesiest part of it all.
Dan, you're a good man.
Oh, thank you.
You're a good man.
All right. So we're hustling. We're doing the 2 jobs. We're getting the savings together. So at some point, you guys head out to Bangkok. Tell me why you chose Bangkok. What was the thought process behind that?
Bangkok was
really.
I think I probably influenced that. To be honest, I've got a lot of friends who've been there, and a lot of good stories have come out of there. A lot of good experiences have come out there, and it just seemed to be like the chaos that we wanted.
Yeah,
the stapled chaos that we wanted. We wanted that amazing experience of a culture shock. Just the wildest food, the craziest, nicest people you could ever meet. Yeah. And just this atmosphere that was completely against the grain.
And different, yeah.
Yeah. And we wanted something that was just to really solidify that one-way ticket, I think it was. I think we needed an extreme destination where it was like, we're going here, and really put a stamp on it. And neither of us had been to sort of Asia. Neither of us had sort of been to that part of the world.
No.
So we were guaranteed that culture shock. And we kind of calculated it was just far away for both of us.
Yeah.
Canada and the UK. I was like, so if we get a one-way ticket that far then. And we were driven towards that experience that we'd never had before. Yeah, it was that. And that's what sort of drove our passion for this whole thing, was because we were coming from such regular backgrounds. We were coming from such sort of nothing like this, basically. And to then go, oh, by the way, I'm getting a one-way ticket to Bangkok and I'm going to make this work.
Yep.
It was like, what do you mean? Like, to explain to me how this is happening. And we became just sort of spinning that story at parties and going away parties and saying we're doing this. We were the
crazy ones of our families going and doing something totally different.
But the drive was there.
Yeah.
And everyone was saying, like, I would love to do that. I would love to do that. And we were like, you can. Like, I don't know why you're saying that. You can. Just look at your life and and plan it out, because it can happen. And it's so easy. It
goes by so quick. You need to do things that you want.
The followers just kept coming in.
Yeah.
And we began doing vlogs on YouTube, actually, sort of in honence to sort of Christian LeBlanc and What the Sheik and all the other sort of Bali-based content creators that we followed at the time. We're really sort of, all you need is a GoPro, the right attitude, sort of not even your GoPro, like a good camera, your phone, and just the content for people in the niche and the inspiration to people to be able to do this. And we vlogged the entire journey from day 1 Bangkok to our flight into Australia, actually. So the whole of Southeast Asia is on YouTube. Yeah. Just like, posting that in there.
I'm learning as you
sandy
go.
Feet, messy hair.
Like Dan was...
And you can see the difference at the start and finish.
Yeah. Dan worked so hard just getting together those videos, everything on the iPhone, just using InShot, just trying to edit the videos every day to be able to post a video every day. He worked.
And the feedback was the fuel. Because all I'd get was amazing feedback. Guys, what about this? Send us this. Like, that looks amazing. Tell me more about this. This, like, how have you managed this? And we loved that. And we were like, this is what we're supposed to be doing. We're outspoken anyway, in like positivity kind of sense. And we just loved being able to create that message and send it out to people.
I absolutely love that. And I want to circle back on a couple of things you said I think were really, really important. I see a lot of parallels in all of the nomads' lives, including my own. There's this stage where you're ready to go, and the people in your life, they do 2 things. They question how you're going to make it happen, but they also tell you they'd love to do it. And, they just haven't seen that potential. And that's why, you guys do what you do. It's why I do what I do, to shine that light and
absolutely
show how it's possible. But interestingly, the one-way ticket to Bangkok, is exactly what I did when I
Yes,
got my freedom.
I was hoping you'd shine light.
Right. And there's definitely something about what I call burning the boats. It's a one-way ticket. There's no going back. We have to make this work.
Yeah.
So when you guys chose Bangkok, was there a financial aspect to that decision in terms of, the living cost being cheaper than the typical Western world?
I think definitely. I think that was definitely one of the key factors, because we weren't sure what we were doing. And it was kind of that safety net of knowing that we aren't going to be burning that candle as fast as we thought we'd be.
And when we decided we were finally, that's what we were going to do, we're going to go traveling, all that stuff, I think we only had about 4 months since we made the decision to actually save. So it was, okay, if we're going to go, let's go somewhere cheap that could last us our small amount of savings and just try and make it work. And yeah, I think Bangkok just kind of called both of our names.
And that was kind of like, that was our drive too, was that we were living on a budget that wasn't extreme to a normal saver, or a regular income household or anything. It was quite achievable.
Yes,
yeah, definitely. Thailand's awesome. The $1 meals and the accommodation is super cheap. It's the best $1 meal you'll ever get.
Oh
it's just incredible.
Any day. And we were lucky enough to go to Koh Chang and do a cooking class.
Oh, amazing!
And we did. We were also lucky enough to it just be us two and the lady instructing the class. So we had a personal lesson on Koh Chang Island.
So nice.
And to know that what the complexity of the pad thai, to sell it for $1, you're getting a bargain for your money. Yes. I'll put it that way.
Absolutely. That city is just a wonderful, wonderful city and a great country.
Unreal.
So I want to dig in a little bit deeper. So you're in Bangkok, you've got a few months worth of savings, you've got the budget, you're making sure you stretch that as far as possible. And I guess you're doing the tourist thing, you're taking the pictures, you're creating content. Mm-hmm. What I'm interested in is that content creation path. It takes a while to monetize. Mm-hmm. So were you doing something else on the side to maintain your lifestyle? How did you deal with that challenge?
Yeah, so we started looking online and we started looking at other influencers to see what they were doing, as you do. And the main thing that kept popping up over and over was teaching Japanese online. Yeah. So we hooked up an interview, found a company, settled into a good Wi-Fi connection, and applied and then started teaching Japanese online. Yeah, basically. And
since then we've been trying to grow our blog and our YouTube and our website. Getting the content out there as much as possible, constantly learning. We're always trying, because we're self-taught with camera and editing and web design and everything, that it's just, we've grown so much already in the last however many months we've been traveling, almost a year now. I think we've grown so much, and we've dedicated 2020 to just building our brand, just building and seeing how far we could get from now until December 2020. And yes, since teaching online, once we ended up kind of going through our savings, we hopped over to Australia and have been working some local jobs just to keep the funds topped up as we're building our brand on the side. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's really important to highlight that. And I love that about your Instagram at Sandy Feet Messy Hair, that you show that entire picture. It's not just, we're influencers living this lifestyle. You're showing, look, we're working on the farm also. We're doing this other thing that pays for our lifestyle so we can build the thing that we really want.
Definitely.
And, I think that's so important to show.
Really, 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 really important. And I think that the whole smoke and mirrors sort of thing that you can you do occur with Instagram and that kind of thing. It's really good to see the behind the scenes, and people love that. People love the behind the scenes stuff. So why not be behind the scenes constantly so people can see how achievable that is? Yeah. And we were following. So we had a big following of content creators and influencers that were our idols. And two of our idols were actually Mary and Jake Snow. Yeah. And we read into their story. We idolized their content. We idolized everything about them, and we dug a bit deeper into their sort of financial situation, and they were doing seasonal work down in Australia for however many, what was it? What was the ratio?
It was 4 months of work, and the rest of the year they traveled. And we found out actually that they've been doing that only up until this past May.
Yeah.
So just knowing that kind of gives you a little bit of a booster. Like, okay, these people, they're real, you know, they're doing the same thing as us. It's all just how much work you put in. And
their work is unbelievable.
It is insane.
And it is just an inspiration to be able to see that. And we loved that insight, and we really, really loved that insight. And they showed the van that they lived in while they were here, and they showed the funny videos and the funny pictures behind the scenes. And yeah, like you're saying, I think it's so important to show people that behind the scenes and that raw side of it, just so people are clear on it, because it took us a lot of very early on, we were under the influence and the myth that I think that quite a few people are, that you can monetize from the followers on Instagram.
Yep, definitely.
And that was sort of our biggest sort of misconception when it came into this situation. And it's learning them real life details and not sort of like being naive about it, that you are sort of in quite a heavy situation, but you can make it work if you push it and you work hard.
Totally.
Yeah, I think there's two really great points that you guys have hit on, and I just want to touch on those for a moment. So one point is choose your idols or the people you look up to wisely. If you choose the wrong person, you'll always find yourself comparing yourself to them and minimizing your achievements. What I love is that not only did you choose people who were, living the lifestyle you wanted, but you went further to actually understand how they did it, and they were transparent enough to show that. And I think that's so important.
Yeah, absolutely. And these are the kind of people who, and we've tried and tested it through our journey so far, where you'll send them a DM or you'll send them a personal message with a question or just a guy's like, I love your content, thank you very much sort of thing. And they reply back. And that's genuine. The best part is where you get that social aspect, surprisingly.
Yeah. You get to know, it's like you get to know them personally.
Yeah, and you get to end up with that personal relation, and it's that, absolutely. Being able to relate to them is so important.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. I think the other thing that you mentioned, which is really great, is for everybody out there who's listening and who's thinking that becoming a content creator is one of the potential paths, out of that 9 to 5. The thing that makes people connect is when you're real. So the people who document their life rather than trying to be fancy. I'm channeling my inner Gary Vee as I'm saying this, but it's that documentation and just being real that helps people connect with you. Yes. And actually that gives you everything that you want. It gives you followers, it gives you likes, it helps you build that audience.
Absolutely.
Oh, it's just genuine all the way. Yeah. It's really honestly the best policy. And you become just genuinely likable. Yeah. If you just put your personality forward, people see it a mile off, then they'll notice when you're not.
And like the best part is that, and when you're being real, you don't have to put, it's not effort anymore. It's effortless to do it because it's something that you love, because you're just being raw and you're just being real. And it's so easy to just get out there and just be you instead of putting on a face all the time.
And instead of I wonder how many likes this photo's going to take, you take it for the love of taking a photo. And you take it for the love of just having the time in the moment and capturing it and just wanting to share it as a message to other people. That's what's becoming lost slowly, which is quite sad.
Absolutely. That definitely comes through in your content. The word personality is exactly what I feel whenever I'm watching your stories on Instagram and seeing your posts.
Thank you so much.
There's so much personality and it's just so real. And it's really a lesson to everybody. Everybody out there needs to go and take a look at Sandy Feet Messy Hair on Instagram, because you'll see how it should be done. That's really true words from me.
Thank you. Biggest shout out. Thank you very much.
So guys, you're in Australia now. Talk to me about where you're headed next. What does the next few months and years look like for you guys?
Okay, so we discuss this every day, actually, yeah.
So one big thing that we're both very, very excited about that's recently come into our lives is the Institute of Code. It is a school in Bali, which you could explain.
Where they do social media marketing course, or they do a web development course. And they cater for all the students. I think it's a 3 or a 4 to 1 ratio from teacher to student.
Yep.
They have organised yoga in the morning, specialist dietary requirements, food throughout the entire course with living accommodation. And we were lucky enough to connect with them over Instagram, and we were lucky enough, furthermore, to win a scholarship to their academy doing social media marketing. So that meant that we won $1,000 off each.
Wow.
For the course.
For the course that was running in February this week. And spoiler for us was that Mary and Jake Snow were going to be there.
No way.
And they're doing the web development course at the moment. And we were going to be doing the social media course next to them.
Yeah.
And but we had a big trip. For people who don't know, we had a big trip through January where we spent 4 weeks traveling in a big circle from the east coast of Sydney. We drove up to Bundaberg, up onto the northeast, or the northern eastern side, correction, of the east coast up to Bundaberg, and then we went inland to Uluru, and down to Alice Springs and that sort of area, and then we came down to Adelaide and did a big loop around, followed by a week in New Zealand, which was really cool. So we were a bit financially tied when we got back.
Yeah.
So Bali wasn't quite in the question.
So they gave us a second option. And told us that if we weren't able to make it in February, then we would get half of our scholarship, so $500 off each if we went in August. So we decided that's probably the safer option. We're working at a blueberry farm right now near Melbourne in Australia. And we'll save our little bits of money and then hopefully head there for August.
Yeah, and then we'll be good.
Yeah.
And we've got the blueberry farm on the go. We've got our development of our social media going on at the moment. We're hoping for a second job to try and top the funds up. You've got your online business going on too.
Yeah.
Sat's running Arbonne at the moment, which is fantastic for both our health, moreover, tenfold. But so at the moment, that's our sort of outlook on this year. We were kind of like Sat touched on it earlier, that this year was going to be our year to sort of figure out what we were going to do and how we were going to work with this. And we were really going to dig our heels in. We felt we had so many ideas and so much inspiration, and we just had so little time. And we said, right, let's just sort of just use this sort of time now that we're working and just dig in and really sort of put our content out there. And because we know so much. We rode a scooter from the south of Vietnam to the north, just us two, a single 125cc scooter, and sort of for the English viewers, did the whole Top Gear journey up north and even did the night train. And we vlogged it, but we want to write it down. We want to tell people about it. We want to get it out there that you can do it yourself. And it's a lot cheaper than you'd think. And it was one of the best experiences of our entire lives, just doing it.
Absolutely.
And so we really want to have time to get all these ideas out and really sort of work on ourselves and work on this and just make it work. This is our grind time back in. We had our little play in January, and now we're back to the grind of it all and get really just passionate about getting work done and kind of showing people what it's all about.
You're definitely hustlers, you guys, from the 4:30 a.m. wake ups back in Canada all the way through to what you do now. So what is that split between work and downtime? Because again, another, myth is that 4-hour work week. I mean, everybody knows there's no 4-hour work week. What does your work versus downtime look like at this point?
So it was quite a shock when it wasn't really a shock, but it was quite funny because you're kind of escaping the 9 to 5 to welcome to an even bigger work week, but it's doing something you love. So it doesn't turn into work. So our entire life and our entire day is sort of just enjoyment, really. And we wake up every morning. Our routine is we get up in the morning. Coffee is essential at this point. And then this is about 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning, I think. Yeah. And we do our work. We like to start the day, get some content out there, get the ball rolling, get the mind rolling, because when we go to work, we have a blast at work. It's so fun with all the other sort of workers. It's a really, really great atmosphere, and we love working there. And
so every morning our little ritual is to get up and make a coffee, and we sit at our windowsill because that's wherever we get service in our home at the caravan park, and we sit by the window and we do our work. So we'll check Instagram, we'll make our posts, we'll write out blogs, we'll sit down and talk about ideas and kind of just get the day going. And by the time that we go to work and finish work, we come home and we have some time for ourselves. In the afternoon, we cook dinner together and we hang out, and it's kind of a good balance between like relationship, our digital nomad kind of content creating world, and then our work life. We found that we're always most alert in the morning, I guess, and like have the most creativity in the morning. Two of us are both morning
after
people.
Coffee.
Yeah.
Always after coffee.
Always after coffee. Because no one's that superhuman. We need to talk about this.
Yeah. And then have our work time, make our money to fund our dreams, and then, have some us time and build our relationship in the evening.
Because it's nice in the morning because we like to be goal driven. We like to know where we're going. We don't want to sort of work seasonal jobs for the rest of our lives. Mm-hmm. We literally have a poster of our itinerary for the week, of our goals and dreams, in front of our bed on the wall. So it's the first thing we see when we wake up. And then to the top left of there is one of the helmets that we used for Vietnam, and a fan that we used to keep us cool on the public transport there too. And it's a little reminder in the morning to sort of keep yourself motivated. So those days that you get up in the morning, and this is actually a really good tip for anyone who's working the 9 to 5, is to sort of chase your dream in the morning for a couple of hours. Yeah. Wake up, and even if you just get inspired by your Instagram feed when you're scrolling through and you're like, you get really psyched because you're scrolling through, you're like, that's where I want to be, that's what I want to do. Take the time out in the morning to remind yourself why you work in that 9 to 5 job and why you work in them hours that might not be so palatable or sociable. And that's why we do get up early. It's because it's to remind ourselves each morning what we're doing it for. Mm-hmm. And we're prepped, and now we're ready, and we hit the day sort of ready and to earn money and sort of live the lifestyle we want to live. And then we come back and we carry that on, and we have a blast doing it. And our relationship is probably stronger because of it, actually. Mm-hmm. Because we're, as cheesy as it sounds, business partners, best friends, and sort of all that sort of Valentine's Day stuff thrown in there.
Yeah, you're doing a great job. So there's a couple of things you said I want to touch on. One is that power of those visual cues and those visual reminders in your physical space. Yes. My version of that is my screensaver on my phone. I have the word create, and that's my reminder. Don't be a consumer, be a creator. And it definitely makes a difference. Yes. It made a big difference for me, just seeing that every day. It gives me that mental check-in of, have I created today?
Absolutely.
Or have I consumed? And, when you see it, it lets you realign the rest of your day or the rest of your week. So that's a great tip there, Dan. The other thing you said that I really liked is kind of wake up in the morning, seize the day. I think Brian Tracy calls that eat the frog.
Eat the frog,
First thing in the morning.
I like it.
Get out there, get that thing done. And especially when you're working 9 to 5 or you're doing a side hustle, that time in the morning when you have the most energy, you're full of coffee, it's a really, really great time to get things done.
Absolutely. That's the biggest part. I think that for me, especially when it came down to planning and coming into that world of really working for your passion, that little tip is probably one of my strongest ones. Yeah. And writing things down. And just write it down and tackle them at a time and a place where needed. And especially in the morning, like you said, it's amazing.
Yeah, and just making the decision and the change that you have the power to do. So if you're wanting the dreams that you want and where you want to be, follow those people that inspire you on Instagram. Don't fill your feed with negativity. Fill it with inspiration and goals, and follow those people and follow those journey who just make you, as soon as you open your social media, because let's be real, everyone checks Instagram every day, and you go on there and you see all this amazing content and these people doing these amazing things, and you're like, yes, I want to do that. That's where I want to be.
And if you don't have to get up at 4:30 in the morning. If you're not a morning person, you're not a morning person at the end of the day. That can come down to a biological level, I think, in fact. And you just find little habits through the day. If it means on your lunch break, all I'm going to focus on is what I'm going to do tonight when I get home, and just spend a quick 10 minutes. Or when you get home, spend a quick 10 minutes just doing something, just putting something in place, setting the foundation for that goal and that dream. Because that 5 minutes every day does add up. And if you go, okay, well, I'll plan an hour here and an hour there, an hour's can be quite a long time in a busy schedule.
Definitely.
So start small. Honestly, start small. Put these little things in place in the morning. If it isn't to check social media because it's a distraction, then don't turn it on in the morning. Have that little sort of habit. And then it's just all about them sort of things and building them up, and you will eventually get there.
Yeah.
Definitely. That's great advice. It's really about that consistency of 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there, and stringing those together. I think a lot of people have that all or nothing mindset where they think they have to spend, 3 hours working on that thing. But over the week, how many times do they actually get that done? Whereas those small little sections bumped together, they just make all the difference.
I mean, one of the things at the moment that we're doing is we're trying to create our own Instagram filters using, I think it's Spark AR that Facebook's just introduced. And that's quite a big learning curve for myself because I've never really touched on coding and anything like that. So the College of YouTube is really helping me out there. And it was a huge task, and I couldn't seem to find the time, and I kept delaying it. And I realized that a week had gone by from when I'd actually initially planned it. And I was like, this can't happen. So what I was doing was I scheduled in every day that I'd do 10 minutes just sitting on it, regardless of where I was on it. If I completed it or didn't, I would just do 10 minutes. And I said from the hour till 10 past, I'm going to work on this. And then I'm going to stop it. Even if I'm on a roll, I'm going to stop it, because that little on a roll edge is your motivation to do it next time. Yeah. So it's, definitely.
Absolutely. I love that. I think that's so important to maintain that that consistency and College of YouTube. I love that. I'm going to steal that, Dan. I'm telling you up front.
We can all be graduates in anything, in everything.
Exactly.
It's the biggest inspiration.
Exactly. That's the power of the internet. We really have no excuses these days. The internet, shows us the path, and every single question you could ever have is answered between, Google and YouTube.
Absolutely.
So there's no excuse for us anymore.
Scary. Absolutely.
So Sat, I want to talk to you for a moment. It's Valentine's Day today.
Yeah.
And you touched on working together as a couple. And on my side, I'm about 2 months in with my significant other, traveling through the world. And, you learn and you adapt. And I think you had a post a few days ago talking about we've survived, we've not killed each other yet. And I really laughed when I read that. So talk to me about your journey as a couple and those new experiences together.
Yeah. To be honest, it's been a lot smoother than I thought it would be. Like, you never know when. It was so crazy because when we first met, from the time we met to the time that Dan moved to Canada for us to be together, we had seen each other in person for 7 days. I think we counted in total.
Wow.
So within 9 months, and him, like between the time that we met and him moving, we only saw each other for a total of 7 days in person. So that was like crazy and scary and exciting all at once. And when he got to me in Canada, it was so weird first just seeing him physically in front of me. I'm so used to hearing his voice over FaceTime and phone calls, but having him physically in front of me was just so cool and different. And I don't know, it's such an intense feeling. I don't think I've ever felt that way before. But living together it was 3 months, I guess, before we started traveling. It was really just getting to know how we are. Like, I'm a little bit more of a messy person and Dan's a clean freak. It's like it was a little bit of a challenge getting to know each other and how we live day to day and living together and being together all the time. But honestly, I don't think since he moved to Canada, I don't think that we've spent a day apart. And it's been really, really good, just from like, you kind of have to trust that person a lot. Like, we left my family and we left my home to go just experience all these new things together, and just being able to give yourself and let yourself just fall into that trust. It felt really good, and it was so fun, just like being like, yep, you know what, I'm gonna give all my trust to Dan, like getting on that back of that scooter in Bangkok and buying these tickets and just saying, yeah, screw it, let's just go here instead, and who knows what's gonna happen, but we'll just grab hands and go.
Put it this way, I had a pretty tough dad talk. To deal with.
You've got to share that with us, Dan. Come on.
Oh, no.
It was very
That's
good.
for another podcast for another day, I'm afraid.
Yeah, it's been an amazing experience. And like every other couple, you have those arguments, you have those disagreements. But we actually were talking about this today. Doing long distance at the beginning of a relationship, I think, was the best thing that could have possibly happened, because we really learned how to talk to each other, just how to communicate. So now that we're with each other and we're actually like spending our lives together, we already have that part down. We've already learned those things about each other. So whenever something comes up where we really need to talk, or there's an argument or a disagreement or anything, we know how to figure it out. We know how we're like, whether we have to take 5 minutes and come back to it, or it always ends in I love you, and that's all that matters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's just the key. It's so important to come back to that. And at the end of the day, there's really nothing else matters. There's no problem.
Yeah.
You can't solve beyond that.
Exactly.
I can definitely resonate with that in my life and in our life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I was reading on your blog this morning. I love the blog, by the way.
Thank you.
I was reading one of the guides about the travel essentials, the cameras, the SD card readers, all of that kind of stuff that you travel with. So I want people to go to read the blog. I want them to come and check out your vlogs, follow your Instagram. So where can people find out more about you?
Yeah, that will be sandyfeetmessyhair.com. It is being updated right now. We're still kind of tweaking it, but we're about to put a About Us blog post up too, so that'll be up soon, as well as Instagram. We are on Instagram every day.
That's our main number one. Yeah,
try to post on our stories every day, showing what we're up to, what we're eating. We're huge foodies and vegan, and we just love to share our food and everything, as well as our vlog. So on YouTube at Sandy Feet Messy Hair as well.
On YouTube, you'll find our entire vlog of Southeast Asia. That included the Bangkok, the scooter riding, the Koh Chang Island experience, the cooking classes on there. South Korea's on there. Vietnam scooter south to north is on there, including the sleeper train and including some of the Instagram spots.
Yeah, we vlogged almost every single
single day we vlogged. So if you ever want to know the ins and outs of Asia, or sort of see it from a humbling, not necessarily glitz and sparkle point of view, more street food and real experience point of view, then definitely check out our vlog on YouTube.
Yeah.
But our main sort of thing at the moment is
definitely Instagram.
Is Instagram and the blog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, love that. So guys, you heard what to do, you heard where to go. Definitely go and check out Sandy Feet Messy Hair on all the socials and on sandyfeetmessyhair.com. So Dan, Sat, it's been an absolute pleasure. What I'd love for you to do is just close with some words. What advice would you give to that person out there who's in that 9-to-5 job, who's in that life that they know is not for them, and they're not quite sure how to go about it, how to make that money? Give us some words of wisdom.
Yeah.
Where do we start?
Yeah, thank you.
What
for
a whirlwind.
Words.
Yeah, thank you so much.
I would say just trust your gut. That is my biggest thing. I've always been that person where you got to trust your instincts. If there's one thing that you could do for yourself is say yes to you. You want to go out there and you want to live your dreams, and nobody is stopping you except yourself. So just know that everything will work out as long as you say yes to you. That is my biggest advice. I tell everybody that.
That's gold.
I think I can't top that. You got it. You nailed that. Yeah, good job. I'm happy with that. That's awesome. Yeah, absolutely. If you just follow your dreams, as cheesy as that is, you got it.
Just say screw it. Sometimes you're never going to be ready. That is so huge. You're never going to be ready. You're never going to be able to save as much as you want. You just have to throw yourself in the deep end sometimes, and it is always going to work out.
Words of wisdom. You heard it here first. Guys, I love you so much. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much.
We really appreciate all of this. We appreciate your time, and we appreciate you guys listening too. Thank you so much.
All right. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.